Hi, it's James again from the 11 Plus Tutors. Today, as lots of you are starting out your 11 Plus journey, I wanted to talk about writing, and the biggest question of all is how can we become a great writer? The short answer to this is it's not simple, okay? There are several steps we need to go through, and it's definitely not something that happens overnight. It happens by being consciously aware of things over a long period of time and really working on them. So I've got the ladder of success here. I hope you like the analogy. The foundation stone here is being a reader. I just find it very difficult to believe that you could become a really great writer if you never read anything. So your child needs to be reading books. And from that reading, they'll start to get influenced by what they read, and that's the big thing here. Even on a subconscious level, they will be aware of the vocabulary that the author uses and maybe pick up and hopefully be aware of new words there. They will be aware of the skills as time goes on that the writer may be using, and the way in which the author expertly delivers a story is another thing that they're going to pick up. So this really is a constant foundation stone. So as we move up the ladder, this is the other big thing, mastering varied sentence structure. Now lots of kids are stuck in one trap, one rut, one way of doing things, and that is using all simple sentences. By simple, I don't necessarily mean short. You can have long, simple sentences. By simple sentence, I don't necessarily mean that it hasn't got any hard words or skills involved. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about clauses, main clauses and extra information, subordinate or relative clauses, having different openers so we don't bore a poor old reader to tears. And I have actually got another YouTube video on this. If you search my channel, type in Sentence Gym, I'll go into this in more detail. But anyone that comes to my own tuition, we do this every week, you know, just to make kids aware of what makes a good sentence, because after all, a good piece of writing is really a collection of really well thought out sentences. As we move up the ladder again, then we get on to developing skills and literary techniques. Obviously vocabulary is important here. We need to push the adverbs and adjectives. But also, beyond vocabulary and adverbs and adjectives, which are very, very important, we start to get into the realms of literary techniques. And there are many. I'm just going to mention some here. Similes, metaphors, personification. We move on to more advanced things like juxtaposition, oxymorons, or even things like foreshadowing, and all sorts of literary techniques we can use over time. This is really the spice. This is the extra that your child needs to score in the top band, okay? Very, very important. This is becoming a deciding factor in many types of 11 plus exam now. I can't name exactly the schools, okay? But the Essex exam, definitely a big thing, okay? It's a big part of the mark scheme for English. And there's another very famous girls' school in my local area in Essex, and I know for a fact that this has become the deciding factor for many kids, in which they proceed to have the rest of their exam marked or not and considered. I've had kids, unfortunately, a couple of kids this year that got amazing marks. They passed, but they just missed out on this. So this is really important. I've got other kids that scored, a lot of kids that did all of this stuff, and we believe they're going to get success when they get to school place. So it's a good story, but we had one or two kids where unfortunately they got a great score, but they just missed out on this, and it's such a tight competition now. And then we move up to the top rung of the success ladder, and I think this is, after all of this stuff, is mastering story plots and the delivery of other types of writing. Now, I'm going to have other YouTube videos on this, but if the child's asked to write a story, even if the time frame is short, they at the very least need to show some kind of story plot direction in their writing. If it's a recount or something like that, it needs to be written in that style that's appropriate. So hopefully at this point, this is giving you a bird's eye view, something to consider in terms of our journey towards And I hope in most cases this can be true, becoming a really great writer, not just an okay writer, but a really great writer, a really competitive writer at this level. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.